The rain fell like shattered glass that evening, sharp, relentless, and cold. Inside the grand marble mansion on the hill, laughter echoed from a party that had long turned sore. Crystal glasses clinked, fake smiles flashed, and beneath it all, a scream broke through the sound of thunder. It wasn't the kind of scream people wanted to hear. It was raw. It was real. It belonged to her. The woman everyone knew but no one really saw. Her name was Elena Warren, the billionaire CEO's wife. 8 months pregnant, delicate, graceful, and always dressed in quiet elegance. She used to light up every room she entered. But that night, her glow had been replaced by fear. Behind closed doors, her husband, Damian Warren, one of the most powerful men in New York, was not a charming businessman. He was a storm, cold, unpredictable, and cruel. The same man who donated millions to children's hospitals was now shouting, his rage spilling out like poison.
"You embarrassed me in front of them!"
Damian hissed, his voice trembling with fury. "I just said I needed air." Elena whispered, her hand protectively over her stomach. The slap came faster than the rain outside. She fell against the glass table, shards slicing her arm. Nobody downstairs noticed, or maybe they chose not to. That's the thing about power, it blinds people to pain. A butler paused in the hallway, eyes trembling with guilt. He wanted to help. He really did. But his job, his family, his mortgage, all depended on keeping quiet. So he turned away. Elena crawled toward the door, tears mixing with rainwater from her hair. She tried to breathe. Tried to remember what kindness felt like, but kindness didn't live here anymore. And then, the thunder roared again. Only this time, it wasn't from the sky, it was from the road. Outside the mansion gates, a dozen engines growled in the storm. Headlights cut through the darkness like blades. The sound was unmistakable, the rough, rhythmic growl of Harley Davidsons. The gate guards frowned. "What the hell?" one muttered as the bikers rolled in, soaking wet, leather glistening. Patches on their backs reading Road Saints Brotherhood. At the front was Cole Matthews, a man with tired eyes and a heart that had seen too much. He wasn't supposed to be there. They'd been on their way to a veterans shelter fundraiser nearby when they'd heard the scream. Cole had spent enough nights in combat zones to recognize the sound of someone in real danger. He killed his engine. "Stay here," he told his crew. Inside, Elena tried to pull herself up, the world spinning. Her phone lay shattered beside her. Damian stood above her, breathing heavily, his anger morphing into disgust. "Pathetic," he spat. Then came the knock. It wasn't polite. It wasn't hesitant. It was the kind that made marble tremble. Damian's brows furrowed. "Who the hell?" The door burst open. Rainwater pooled into the hall as Cole stepped in, leather jacket dripping, a scar running along his jaw. Behind him, the rest of the bikers loomed like silent shadows. For the first time in years, Damian Warren didn't have control of the room. "Party's over," Cole said, his voice calm but deadly. His gaze fell on Elena, bruised and trembling on the floor. "Mom, you all right?" Elena blinked, barely able to speak. Her lips quivered. "Please, my baby." That was all he needed to hear. Damian scoffed, his arrogance returning like a reflex. "You have no idea who I am, Bon." Cole's jaw tightened. "Don't care." One of the bikers closed the door behind them, locking it with a solid click. The music from the other room faltered. People started whispering, peeking in from the ballroom. Phones out, unsure whether to record or hide. Cole took a step closer. "You're gonna walk away from her. Right now." Damian laughed, a sound that echoed hollow in the marble. "Or what? You'll get grease on my floor." The next sound wasn't laughter. It was the sharp crack of glass as Damian stumbled backward, his collar caught in Cole's fist. The butler gasped. The guests froze. Nobody moved. Cole's voice was low. "I've seen men like you before. They always think nobody will stand up, but someone always does." He released him, letting Damian fall against the wall. Then he turned to Elena, extending a calloused hand. "Let's get you out of here." A tear streamed down her face as she placed her hand in his. It was the first safe touch she'd felt in years. The bikers formed a silent shield around her as they led her out into the rain. The mansion lights glowed behind them, hollow and cold. Police sirens began to echo faintly in the distance. Someone had finally called. But by the time they arrived, the bikers were gone. All they found was an empty hallway, a broken vase, and a shattered man sitting in silence. Hours later, at a small roadside diner off Route 17, Elena sat wrapped in a flannel jacket too big for her, sipping warm tea. Cole sat across from her, his hands wrapped around his coffee mug. He didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. Sometimes silence speaks the loudest. A waitress came by and placed a small slice of pie in front of Elena. "On the house." she said softly. Elena looked up, her eyes glistening. Why are you helping me? Cole looked at her gently. Because someone helped me once. Outside, the rain finally stopped, and for the first time in a long time, Elena felt the world wasn't entirely cruel.